TaylorMade slider, big driver, lots of buzz around this driver. A lot of professional golfers getting amazing results with it. The main claim behind it is that the low and forward centre of gravity produces much lower spin, and therefore most golfers can use a much higher loft, and most golfers are really being encouraged to use a much higher loft. It's another one of those things. If that's what you need, then that's great. Having the centre of gravity low and forward inevitably makes the club head slightly less forgiving, so we'll test that and we'll see how much of an effect that has. The main thing with this driver though is that we've tested it before and it's incredibly low spinning, so we'll see that in the test. I'm sure we'll see what it does. TaylorMade slider 430. Here are the numbers up on your screen for the 10.5 degree and the 12 degree. I don't know who would use the 9.5 degree in this driver. That must be quite a brutal club. So the main point with this driver really is that it's massively low spinning, which is why so many of the tour players and good golfers who have high ball speeds and high spin rates have seen really good results in this driver, because they can play a higher loft, which gives them the higher launch angle, but the spin rate doesn't become excessive. And for good golfers, generally speaking, and high spin rate players, that's really good, and it really helps to add distance to the drives. The slight issue with it is that, obviously, as it's advertised, is that it's good for all golfers. So I think there's a lot of players who might go into this driver because it's the buzz driver, and then they end up having to add spin using the shaft, which makes the club less stable, so will actually make them quite a bit less accurate. So it comes with a pretty serious caveat. I mean, for certain players, this driver is just brilliant. We got great numbers with this, but my feeling is it's just something to be treated with a little bit of caution. That lower spin rate is good for some, but really bad for others. A lot of golfers would lose distance with that lower spin rate. Little footnote, the movable weight does work. We found that it gave us about a 600 RPM change in side spin right to left, so another good way of sort of fine-tuning your club. It looks pretty good, so yeah, I think it's a great product, but it's not for everyone as advertised. TaylorMade slider 460. Here are the numbers on the screen. As you can see, it's as you would expect, really. It's slightly higher launching and slightly higher spinning than the 430 model, so definitely gives an option to players who are looking for that ball flight, and I think that's the main consideration for people when choosing between the 430 and the 460. Is ball flight. The 460, when bench tested, actually measures up at a slightly higher loft than what it says on the driver. But again, it's a good performer. We managed to get it launching really high without excessive spin. Which it should say here, that a lot of the shafts that have been brought out recently have almost reacted to the slider, and they've softened the tip sections up because they know a lot of people are going to be struggling to get their spin rate up and keep the ball in the air. So we experience quite slightly higher than we would want spin rates to be optimum for me. But having said that, with a slightly more standardised shaft in it, so last year's models, that would bring the spin rate down by about 400 to 500 RPM. So, good driver, but again, it's even in this model, which is really the kind of middle of the road model, it's still quite low spinning, and so it really only suits certain golfers. And the thing I always say is that if you end up putting a shaft in to suit the head, that's really the wrong way to go. Figure out what shaft you want and then find a head that works with that shaft. So pretty good, but treat with care.